Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today at this co-led webinar between Wizehire and Indeed. We are really excited to be sharing some hiring tips that we think are not only going to help you hire amazing quality candidates, but also ensure that they are a really great fit for your business. So we're going to be spending the next 30 minutes together. We will do some really quick introductions, but we'll spend the bulk of our time talking about the 7 hiring tips on how to reach top talent. We'll share a little bit about the Indeed and Wizehire partnership, and we're definitely going to save some time at the end for Q&A. So feel free to add any questions that you have in the Q&A section. It's between chat and share there, and we will either answer it live or we can also have a written response depending on the volume of questions. But first, let's kick it off with a quick poll. I have a quick little poll for y'all. So where are you in your hiring journey? Okay, let's see. Well, the bulk of you, over 90% of you, are actively hiring. A few of you are about to start hiring. Some of you are not currently hiring, but that's okay, because I think for this presentation, there are going to be tips that you can implement right now, as well as tips that you can take with you when you actually do start your hiring process. So let's kick it off with some introductions. First, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Carmen Bryant. I'm the Vice President of Marketing at Wizehire. I've been here for about 2 years. I am very passionate about HR tech. I love helping job seekers, but I also have a real passion for helping growing businesses find amazing talent easily. This was actually honed during my 6 years at Indeed, where I led US marketing efforts, specifically in the B2B marketing space. So I am very excited to have Luana Lim from Indeed co-presenting with me today. Luana, you want to share a bit about yourself?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name's Luana, as Carmen mentioned. I'm a partner manager at Indeed, and I've been at Indeed for about 6 years. Prior to my current role, I spent 4 years on Indeed's enterprise client success team, and it was there that I really became an expert on the Indeed employer experience. In my current role, I work closely with Indeed's technology partners like Wizehire, and what I do with them is I just make sure that we have the best possible experience for both employers and job seekers.
Thanks so much, Luana. So excited that you're joining us today.
Me too.
So let me tell you a little bit about Wizehire. So Wizehire was founded about 10 years ago in 2014 with the mission to level the playing field for growing businesses. And we saw that there was a gap where small and growing businesses were not getting the same resources and tools that large enterprise organizations were. And we really thought that we could fill that gap. So we provide an easy, intuitive platform, but also expert support in the form of Wizehire coaches that are there with you every step of the way so that you can hire confidently.
All right. And now a little bit about Indeed. So Indeed is really where people go to search for jobs. We're the #1 job site in the world, and we have 69.7 million unique visits every month just in the US. We have over 6.9 million new jobs that are added each month, which is really what keeps the job seekers coming back. And we also have 106 million searchable resumes for employers to be able to connect with the right talent.
I have to tell my joke, about Indeed and the plucky little startup, right? Like only 106 million searchable resumes. So excited to have you on with us. We're going to do another quick poll before we jump into our hiring tips. What I was really interested in understanding from you is, what are your biggest hiring challenges? So maybe you can just drop that in the chat in terms of like what some of your biggest hiring challenges are. So quality candidates showing up for scheduled interviews, people showing up, quality, yes, showing up, wow, okay, very, very common. Finding someone that's actually qualified and has experience. Qualified. Okay, there is a lot of consistency. And I think that I'm actually glad that this happened, because this is really interesting and probably speaks much more specifically to what it all you all are looking for, more than our poll could have. And I'm actually really excited because we are definitely going to be talking about both of these things. So our tips are going to address both of those hiring challenges. We're for sure going to be talking about how to get quality candidates. We're also going to be talking about quality candidates as well. Our sort of tips are going to approximate the hiring journey that most of you are probably entering in when you decide that you are looking for talent. So let's kick it off and get going so that we can cover all of these challenges that everyone is having.
All right, I'll cover our first tip. So that is to create accurate job titles. We want you to use simple, easy to understand titles and to put yourself in the shoes of the job seeker and envision what they might be looking for when typing into Indeed's search box. For creating quality titles, both length and content matter. Indeed recommends that you use, again, simple and easy to understand titles, and avoid internal names for roles and instead opt for ones that are going to make sense to anyone outside of the company. A couple of examples I have, a software engineer is going to perform better than a GSC DUV engineer, something that I actually found on Indeed. Also, obscure titles, which may be fun and eye-catching, don't really perform well in regards to relevance. So something like administrative assistant would perform better than a calendar wrangler. Indeed recommends using no more than 60 characters for job titles on desktop and 35 characters for mobile. An interesting metric is that 75% of all Indeed apply applications worldwide are actually submitted on mobile. So shorter when possible should be a good rule of thumb. In this example, we took a look at the performance between an account manager and a sales rep job. So in action, the A/B test showed that the sales rep job received 64% more impressions, 60% more clicks, and also almost 76% more applies than the account manager. Additionally, in cost, the cost per applicant was reduced by almost 18% when compared to the account manager cost per applicant. So remember, job titles play a big role. Keep it short and simple and avoid internal lingo. Also be aware of the practices and job titles that Indeed does not allow or require sponsorship. The use of emojis, excessive symbols, or clickbait type titles, it might age me, but think back to like Craigslist days. We don't want to see titles like that. Those types of titles are not allowed in the US on Indeed ever. Other things like currency symbols, bonus or salary information, or extremely specific shift information in titles will automatically require sponsorship for traffic on Indeed. So this is just a good thing for you to take a look at and refer back to. Our second tip is to write specific job descriptions. Creating specific job descriptions, again, both length and content will matter. We find that job postings that have between 100 to 325 words actually get up to 30% more applicants than other job postings. So when you're looking at your job description, I would recommend you ask yourself, are you using stock content, or was your job description written by someone a long, long time ago? Was the job description's intended audience someone in HR or a potential job seeker? And what are you focusing on? Are you putting a lot of emphasis on requirements and job duties? Those things for a job seeker, not so exciting. I think really talking about your company mission, your vision and culture is really important, highlighting job perks and benefits. And then also, again, just really stay away from that internal language. You don't want to alienate anyone who doesn't understand what you're talking about.
I should also mention that Wizehire also offers over 350 job description templates. And we also have an AI tool if you need to create a job description from scratch and we don't have one, you don't find one in our templates. And this can also help you make job descriptions a walk in the park, as we are for sure taking into all of this into consideration when we're drafting them.
All right, so here are some tips for writing quality job descriptions. We talked about a lot of these ideas on the last slide, but some additional tips include describing what growth opportunities there might be at your company, what to expect during the hiring and onboarding process, and some of these things listed. One more thing I'm really excited to call out that's somewhat new on Indeed is specifically ensuring that you put a specific location and salary information is going to help improve Indeed's matching technology. So when you put that information in your job descriptions, and I'm sorry, when you put that in Wizehire, What that does is Indeed is able to take that and to put your job in front of the right audience. Indeed's data shows that jobs that have salary, schedule, and benefits information receive 50% more apply starts, and sponsored jobs with salary and precise location have 2.3 times more apply starts per job. So that's a tip that you can use today to help your performance. And I really just put yourself back in the job seeker's shoes. Does your job description make them feel excited about the possibility of working in that role for your company? If the answer is no, then you want to think about rewriting your description to really advertise the job. It's really marketing and advertise your company, and you want to invoke that excitement.
And I did just want to address really quickly, we can do this in more detail at the end, but I think the point around, there was a question around general job titles. And Luana, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's less about having something that's overly general. We want it to be an accurate representation of what the job is, but we don't want to use internal lingo or titles that don't mean anything to the job seeker. Like you were talking about the, what is it, the GSV DUE, like I feel like that's meaningless. I've had people that were hiring retail associates and would call them like chief happiness officer. And so it's less about being overly general and more about being true and using language that is going to resonate with the job seeker.
I think, and just to add on to that, Carmen, I think some things that you can use, and we'll talk about a little bit later in the presentation, is, getting job seekers' eyes on the job is really, really important. You want to be able to let them see it, but then you can leverage things like screener questions to really get through and find those quality, the type of candidate that you're looking for. Indeed only when you sponsor a job, Indeed only charges when job seekers click that apply button. So it's not like before where when they clicked just to view the job, that's when you would have to pay. But in general, I think there are tools to be able to get down to the qualified candidate. It's really the job title is more so that you have the right relevance to get that job in front of the right audience.
Thanks so much. Really great insights. So you've created some amazing content on the tips that Luana has shared. Now you need to make sure your job post gets seen, which is a little bit of what we were talking about. In using the Wizehire platform, with one click, your job post will be pushed over 100 job boards, including Indeed. Why is this important? Well, Indeed has one of, if not the largest pools of applicants, with approximately 70 million users in the US alone. And our industry-specific job templates have also been optimized for keywords and SEO to help increase visibility on platforms like Indeed. And our internal data shows that Wizehire customers get 30% more quality candidates at 1/10 of the average cost per hire.
All right, our next tip is to increase qualified candidates. Job seekers want to apply for jobs quickly. 66% of candidates say they've given up on a promising opportunity because it took too long to apply. And 31% say manual application processes are among the top common problems when job searching. So to address that, we have Indeed's one-click apply or Indeed Apply. So this reduces the number of drop-offs due to a simplified application experience. Our partnership with Wizehire allows customers to get up to 5 times more completed application through Indeed Apply Sync. And if you haven't seen Indeed Apply in action, when you go into Indeed to search, your job will show up with this easily apply badge. When a job seeker clicks on the job, they can apply to your job without ever leaving Indeed.
Your evaluation process is also crucial in ensuring you are focused on high quality talent. And this is our 5th tip. So hiring goes beyond posting a job listing and then crossing your fingers, or like post and pray or spray and pray, whatever you want to call it. There are 3 ways specifically to leverage Wizehire to help evaluate your candidates: screening questions, which Luana referred to a little bit earlier, DISC Plus personality profiles, and interview guides. So by using screening questions, you can save time by only reviewing applications that meet your specific criteria. So perhaps you only want candidates that have 5 years of managerial experience. Perhaps you need someone who's bilingual. Maybe you need someone with a very specific license. Maybe you want someone that's worked in, been a housekeeper before. These type of questions ensure that you get your candidate pool to only the most qualified candidates, and you're not wasting your time going through all of these candidates who don't meet that sort of threshold that you've identified. Wizehire also has its own proprietary version of the DISC personality assessment called DISC Plus that was designed specifically with hiring in mind. It helps you understand who you're looking for through our benchmark data by job role, what they're looking for and what their motivations are, and then how to meaningfully engage with them, both as a candidate, but even when they are onboarding and eventually become employees. And then interview guides. Interview guides ensure you are prepared ahead of your interviews and ask your candidates the right questions, depending on the stage they are in the hiring journey. So you could be asking about their career story in their first interview, or even doing a reference check of someone who has worked with your candidate. We can make sure that you are able to use that time as effectively as possible by leveraging our interview guides. And you can also create your own custom interview guides as well.
All right. So after all that, one last thing I wanted to call out is don't forget to update the status of your candidates. So this is a step in the hiring process that can get overlooked, but really shouldn't. Updating a candidate's status as you review and assess candidates will lead to higher quality candidates. Wizehire sends these statuses automatically to Indeed. And when Indeed understands how a candidate is performing, whether they are successful or not, we're able to fine tune our targeting technology and get your job again to the right audience. Going a step further and letting candidates know where they stand, even if it's not the right fit, also makes for an overall better candidate experience and is really good for your employer brand. That is also going to lead us into our next tip, which is no more ghosting. So this is a two-way street in my opinion, but just so folks, I'm sure that since it was called out as an issue in the process, candidate ghosting is when job applicants drop out of the hiring process unexpectedly. The trend will lead to prolonged and costly hiring processes, and it really highlights the need for transparent communication and respectful interactions. By prioritizing improved communication and streamlining hiring processes, organizations can mitigate the ghosting's impact, uphold their reputation, and forge stronger connections with talent. Again, good communication with candidates leads to more successful outcomes. 24% of small business owners say that candidate ghosting is one of their biggest hiring challenges.
Yeah, sounds like it might be more than 24% for the folks on the call today. Look, nobody likes to be left hanging. And, I think with regard to job seekers, right, it can greatly reduce trust and result in candidates not feeling respected when we're not responsive. So respond to them as if they are your most important customers. And by leveraging a feature like texting, you can also reduce candidate ghosting. Our customers have successfully scheduled 26% more interviews by using text messages, and they've seen a reduction in interview no-show rates. So by being more responsive and leveraging text, you can also create other positive impacts that we've seen. When you show that you value their time and are genuinely interested, it boosts their excitement about your organization and can keep them engaged and eager to move forward in the process. Speed matters, even more so in many of the industries that I know are represented in this webinar. So being quick in your communication can allow you to outpace your competitors. Luana alluded to employer brand. When you fail to respond to candidates, it can destroy your employer brand, because the problem or the challenge is once they have a negative experience with the candidate process, they can also have a negative experience of your business overall. And then finally, you can expedite the hiring process. Like when you're more responsive, you'll hear back faster, and that results in filling your open roles faster. And this is crucial for the bottom line of your business. And our last tip, streamlining your process. So there are many ways we see customers manage their hiring journey. So, maybe you have candidates on a spreadsheet and you're posting your vacancies on local boards, or you're posting them across all the different job boards. Maybe you're working with a staffing agency and looking for a way to spend less money. At Wizehire, we really try to offer an easy to use dashboard that streamlines that hiring journey. You also have access to Wizehire coaches along the way who are experts in your industries. And then it's all managed through one centralized platform. So regardless of how many job boards you're posted to or where your source of candidates is coming from, you can manage it all through that one centralized platform.
All right. And this last section, now that we've covered all our tips, is just specifically about the Indeed and Wizehire partnership.
So we are thrilled to announce that we've enhanced our strategic partnership, and Wizehire is now a platinum partner of Indeed. Luana was sharing a little bit about how that works in terms of like the data and how we are really integrated in that regard. This is an elite tier that is shared by just 9 other global Indeed partners. So we are among rare air and very, very excited, very excited.
Yes, super excited for Wizehire with this milestone. But the next slide is to let you know about the responsive employer badge. So earlier, when talking about candidate statuses, I discussed making sure that that's part of your hiring process. So on top of those benefits with the candidate matching and just making sure that you're getting your job in front of the right audience, jobs posted on Indeed through Wizehire can also get a responsive employer badge. So when Wizehire is sending us those signals, we're able to determine if you are dispositioning or updating statuses for at least 50% of the candidates that you receive from Indeed. If you meet that threshold over a rolling 30 days, you'll get this badge that is shown here that shows you as a responsive employer. And what that does is helps you stand out in Indeed search results and just really improve, again, that your employer brand on Indeed.
Yes. You want to get that, want to make sure you have that competitive edge. So we are at the close of our webinar. Thank you so much, everyone on the call, for joining us. I also want to give a very special thank you to Luana for joining us today and sharing her insights and her experiences. We will be sharing a recording of the presentation via email this afternoon. There'll also be a short survey when you leave the webinar. So please answer the questions, letting us know what you thought of the webinar, what you'd like to see next time. And that's all. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day. Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone.